Squatters, Job as well. I'm back with another one. Let's quickly engage, man, about this comrade Chris Hani issue. As much as you know, what recently, Januz Walus took an interview from ENCA, and well, it's a short one. I think he's still going to give us a full interview because that's my biggest way. I tried to search, to surf the internet, but I couldn't really find the full interview. I wanted to watch the full interview, but I don't like actually making, or running my commentary based on half a story. But what I heard from Januz Walus, who's from Poland, by the way, originally from Poland, he's a Polish guy. It's a Polish gentleman, or a Polish man. He's old by now. Anyway, released on parole, as much as we all know. And then he migrated to South Africa in 1981. Migrated to South Africa to stay here, to settle here, because during the apartheid era, white people had a privilege of coming to South Africa without any questions whatsoever. And so after migrating to South Africa, well, there and there, it went on and on. And then I want to believe what Januz Walus, the same reasons that made him to assassinate comrade Chris Hani are the same reasons that made him leave Poland to come to South Africa. I might be wrong. Anyway, so in the interview, you can see that this man is not remorseful, and he doesn't feel he has wronged us as South African citizens. By the way, we feel robbed of our beloved, revolutionary, and robust leader, comrade Chris Hani. It's so sad, man. It's so sad. And these stories, by the way, I want to warn the democratic government, which is the ANC, that if they don't clean their house, these stories will have their own way to come out to show those skeletons, because it is so concerning as South African citizens. We know for the fact that Debbie Lewis was a politician then, de Klerk was a president, and there's this other guy, Eugene De Kock. He was a police officer, apartheid police officer during the TRC. He confessed of killing a lot of people and whatsoever and all of that. And he is actually associated, or linked to the conspiracy to actually assassinate comrade Chris Hani. Let me tell you this story, by the way. I want to marry these two stories: comrade Chris Hani assassination and former President Jacob Zuma. Because now, why I'm doing this, I'm trying by all means to be impartial, because I realize that a lot of people are going with the rhythm. Yabona, when you attend the music concert, the rhythm, when people move this side to move this side, when they move this side to move this side. Now here are the facts. You can go and check and Google. Jacob Zuma, in one of his speeches, he mentioned that back in those years, many, many years ago, Chris Hani was in exile in Lesotho, staying in a certain house. There was a plan to assassinate him by bombing his house. The assassins, they arrived where they're supposed to commit that heinous crime, and now they found the family. He was with the family, the kids, the wife, and then so they had to call their commander to say, "Commander, this person that we are coming to assassinate is with his family. What do we do?" Commander said, he said, "Hey, call off the assassination. We can't kill all the people in the house." So there were too many attempts, and at the last, they managed to get rid of him. By the way, I mentioned in one of my episodes that the apartheid government couldn't have managed to pull this assassination without the help of the African National Congress comrades. It's very impossible. it is very impossible because assassination deals with information. They need to first gather information, gather their facts, know the ins and the outs. It's like more like planning a robbery. Criminals do sit down, have a meeting, they plan this thing, they orchestrate. So Chris Hani's murder was actually well orchestrated, well calculated. He explained, Januz Walus, how did he commit this heinous crime? He couldn't use whatsoever the firearm because it was going to cause him to cock multiple times and all that, reload or whatsoever. He had to use an automated, rifle. So here's my concern. Januz Walus is out on parole, without properly following the right channels. I feel like the democratic government, the ANC, continued to fail the Hani family on this matter. Because at some point in 2009, it has come to light that the former president, Jacob Zuma, went to a maximum prison to have a meeting with Eugene De Kock for something like more than 3 hours. We don't know what they were talking. Januz Walus, in that episode, he is actually trying to state that he was hoping yes. So he was actually hoping they were actually going to do what? To do what? To have some sort of empathy for them when they visited De Kock, but unfortunately that was not the thing. I think there Msholozi was actually trying to gather as much information as he can, because why? It was important for him to actually get into the depth of the story, actually what has transpired and all of it. And I think somehow he managed to get the story, because if you can look at the events, how they happened, he actually managed to grab some, although he maybe literally doesn't have the full information or what actually happened and all of that, but he always attempts to say, I will talk. That should mean a lot, and that's enough for us to know that there's something that he might actually know that we don't know. That's what I think. But this whole thing, I will hear from you, squatters, because it has become, a bone of contention on this, that why would we have such unresolved issues when we have leaders who are there to clarify certain things that us as average people wouldn't really have access to. It's worrisome, it's a concern. But anyway, on this part of Januz Walus taking an interview and still not feeling remorseful, not showing any sign of, regret because of what happened, it's a concern. It's basically a concern, and we were so worried. So we remain there in the shadows, trying to figure out actually what happened and how did it happen, who was involved, and all of it. It's not like really there's anything that we can really do, but for us at least as citizens to have that courtesy to know exactly how our comrade has actually, been eliminated, and who was involved, and for what reason. What was exactly at stake for this man to be eliminated? Because somehow I feel like maybe he was dominant to become a president, and they said, now we can have him as president. Rather we, eliminate him. I don't know. That's actually how I feel. But you squatters will actually elaborate further on this issue. It's an issue of concern. It's not like we want to do something, no, we just want to know. And the comrades who were involved in this, it's worrisome because they should really be ashamed of themselves. They should be really ashamed of themselves for what it is now and how the situation is now. And for the fact that the Hani family remains in dark about the mystery of exactly who was involved, who sold out, and for what reason. It's our history. We need to own it to that extent that we know the truth, so that we avoid people who are strangers coming to us and lie to us, and we happen to believe them because we don't know the truth. People like Eugene De Kock, may his soul rest in peace anyway, if he was still alive. FWD Klerk, those were the people who could really tell us what exactly happened. The big boaters and all those people, because we feel we've been robbed of someone who is probably a revolutionary, someone who could have at least maybe made a huge difference in our lives, to so to speak, to avoid, maybe black people to continue to be, marginalized and exploited, and all of those things, they contribute. It boils to the same pot that maybe things could have been better if he was here. It feels more like when you have lost a parent and you are sitting down and you still continue to have those unresolved issues of like, maybe if my dad was still alive, maybe life could have been different. That's my thinking now, that you happen to have those kind of minds, that maybe if Comrade Chris Hani was not assassinated, maybe Africans, especially black South Africans, could be having land, could be having equal opportunities, not politicians and politically affiliated people, or maybe royal families only having access to wealth. Maybe all of us could be, there, getting to that living wage to afford, not having families going hungry on empty stomach, and poverty striking, unemployment, lack of food security, and all of those things. We sometimes feel like maybe if he was here, we wouldn't be going through this. We wouldn't be stuck there in the squatter camps, facing all those horrible situations, crime all-time high, people getting killed on a daily basis right in front of you, watching someone getting stabbed. In squatter camp, we witness those things. Someone getting stabbed. You can't say anything, you can't talk, you can't interfere, you can't intervene, try to help. He will turn on you, against you. Someone getting shot. The Kailija, the Deep Sloot, the Tembisa, Soweto, Tsakane, all these locations are structured the same way to perpetuate crime and lack of policing. Police officers are outnumbered, and all of those issues that we have as a country. We believe if Comrade Chris Hani and others, by the way, not only him, others who were assassinated, they were very problematic to prevent what is happening now. So their comrades had to sell them out for 30 pieces of silver. That's my thinking now. I don't know, squatters, maybe you'll have a different view, but I feel like the former president, Jacob Zuma, managed to dig some information, and he has got some information, and he's waiting for anyone who would actually press those buttons, and he will actually talk. He will actually talk, and that's when all hell will break loose. I don't know, I'm just worried about how things are, the tension, the land issue, and all of that. And people, some content creators, by the way, are perpetuating, a wrong perception that the ANC is going to attach or to repossess or to take your property. I don't know. That's a wrong perception. A property referring to what? To land. If you've got hectares and hectares of land lying around doing nothing, you still want to keep that land, but you're not working that land. You're not using that land. It's so embarrassing how greedy people can be. Although we don't want this issue to become something that will divide South Africa, but at the same time, I feel it's long overdue. It must be discussed. Those are the same issues that our country is facing, and we believe they must be addressed as in yesterday, because those are ticking time bomb issues that if not addressed, we might, it's easy to experience a revolution. One day people will rise up and say, enough is enough, then we go into the streets. We don't want that to happen. We want our government to do things orderly. Even us as content creators, we want to constructively drive this issue, not to incite, sort of violence and anarchy and all of that. But at the same time, we still maintain that it must be attended to. The Democratic Alliance, AfriForum, Freedom Front Plus must know that whether they like it or not, we have to discuss this issue. And we don't hate on them, by the way. We love them, but we are not sure if they love us. That's the problem. What's the point of showing someone love who doesn't really appreciate you, who doesn't really show you that they really love you back, as your brother, as your sister, and all of that. So there's too much divisions and all of that. The other one is superior, the other one is inferior. The other one wants to continue to oppress the other one. The oppressed feel oppressed. The oppressor wants to continue to oppress the oppressed and all of that. So it's a merry-go-round. It's a system that is being perpetuated among black people to make sure that the only thing that we are capable of doing is voting, nothing else. And also our leaders, that come to us and say they want our votes and all of that. They must at least have some sort of a better explanation, because for the past 8 years, they've done absolutely nothing except for enriching themselves. It's a fact that all the politicians in the ANC are rich. They own the land, they own cars, they own houses, properties, and everything. What about average people? Tell me, if you are alone in owning 5, 10 properties that you inherited them or you acquired them illegally through corruption or corrupt means, should I say, as a politician, how do you feel when you see people sleeping in shacks? I mean, that must click something in your mind that there's a problem here. And as much as we know, our country is one of the most unequal, has got one of the most unequal society in the whole world. What does it say to you? There's a problem there. There's a problem that we really need to pay attention to and get it sorted. Because if we don't fix it, I like calling it a ticking time bomb. One day, just one day, there will be a revolution. And when that day comes, there won't be, those who have been comfortable will not have enough time to negotiate. There will only be time to take, to grab. It's either the land or what. Crime will be uncontrollable. We wouldn't even really be calling it crime, but it will be black people reclaiming what belongs to them forcefully. So that time when it comes, it will be very sad for everyone who's comfortable now, especially politicians and most white people who owns hectares and hectares of land, who are sitting comfortable. who are perpetuating exploitation. And even our government, which is failing in every aspect to employ people, to create employment, to attract investment, to run this country, economics, everything. Because why? We are being oppressed by the cadre deployment system. They don't employ people with the right expertise to run this country. Specialists, no. They hire themselves, their kids, their girlfriends, their side chicks, and all of that. We are tired of that system. We have been sidelined for the longest time. And a few of us are not in jail now. Many of our fellow black people, they resort to committing crimes. And you think it's a joke? It's not a joke. They don't want to be there, but the system is designed in such a way that it pushes them to go and commit crime. That's the only way to succeed. Because role models in the squatter camps, in townships, amakenza, are criminals. Criminals are role models because they go, they commit crime, they come with a lot of money, they buy GTIs, they renovate their houses and all of that. Then that particular person, by looking at their progress, they become a role model, which is wrong. By the way, that is the reality. Squatters, I'll hear from you about this issue of, Januz Walus taking an interview. Who really ordered for Comrade Chris Hani's assassination? Who really issued that instruction? We just need to know as citizens. We don't mean to fight. We know we can't fight that thing. It's a waste of time for us to rise against our government on that issue, but at least let them come clean and tell the whole country that no, this is what went wrong and all of that, Let them pull those TRC files. We want to see them, to verify ourselves. May the soul of Comrade Chris Hani rest in peace. We'll always be grateful to the struggle that he pushed. Thank you, squatters. I'll hear from you. Comment section. So, Shanganara. Tweet.